Good morning. We'd like to welcome you to another edition of the Sunday School Review. This week's Sunday School lesson is entitled God Offers Deliverance. It's taken from Isaiah, the 51st chapter, verses 1 through 8. And we are still in the book of Isaiah. And this is the last lesson that we're going to have for right now in the book of Isaiah. And if you remember, uh, Isaiah prophecy uh, contained events that would soon occur and events in a distant future at the same time. Now, in last week's lesson, we were talking about um, the fact that Israel had been in captivity for a long time in Babylon. And we know the entire time of the Babylonian captivity was 70 years. And the Jews, Judah, uh, which was taken captive by Babylon, uh, and they were complaining that God had forgotten them. That was their complaint, that God had abandoned them. And Isaiah was giving them a consolation that God has not abandoned you. Now, as I said, Isaiah prophesied of events that would soon come to pass and events that would come to pass in the future. Now, this prophecy in Isaiah was about a century and a half prior to its occurrence. Okay, about 150 years prior to its occurrence. Now, Isaiah was a message to Judah, was a message of hope, deliverance, uh, and consolation, as well as God's promise of future blessings bestowed through the Messiah. And as I said last week, and I believe the week before, the message of salvation was not only to the Jews, but to all of mankind. Now, in this lesson, we have a couple of outlines. The first outline is verses 1 through 3 of the 51st chapter of Isaiah, and it's entitled Looking Back, or Look to the Past. And Isaiah is encouraging the Israel, that is Judah, to look back basically to where God has brought you from. And not only you individual, but look where God has brought the nation from. And we're going to read the first three verses, and we're going to talk about that. And the first verse says, Hearken to me, ye that follow after righteous, ye that seek the Lord. Now, this message here is to the righteous ones. The righteous one says, ye that follow after righteousness, ye that seek the Lord. So the message of consolation is to the righteous. Let's go to finish verse 1. Look unto the rock whence we are hewed, ye are hewed, and to the hole of the pit whence ye are digged. look unto Abraham your father, and unto Sarah that bare you, for I called him alone, and blessed him, and increased him. Now let's talk about this verse 1 and 2 here. Look unto the rock whence you are hewn. In other words, look at your heritage. That is Abraham, who was the father of faith. Okay, Abraham believed God, and his because he believed God, Abraham was counted righteous. So look to Abraham. Uh, 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 Look unto Abraham your father. Abraham is the father of the Jews. Okay, and unto Sarah. It started with those two people. Now God made a promise to Abraham, and you know that the fact that Sarah was barren, okay, and God made a promise to Abraham that I'm going to bless your seed. You're going to be a great nation. I don't have any children, and it took a long time, and we know that. We're not going to go through the story, but you know that it took a long time before God blessed him with the promised seed. Okay, and unto Sarah, Abraham and Sarah. So it started with those two individuals, Abraham and Sarah, who, as I said, Sarah was barren. Okay, for I called him alone. Wasn't anybody else. He told him to move away from your kindreds and to a place I will show you. Okay, move away from your comfort zone. Okay, so he called him alone and blessed him. We're talking about Abraham, and increased him. And from those two individuals who was initially barren, that is Sarah, God made a multitude. You look up into the sky, you won't be able to number them. So this is your heritage, is what Isaiah is saying to them. This is your heritage. God is faithful to his promises. Therefore, while you're going through your captivity, God is going to be faithful in bringing you out. This is what he's talking about. Look to the past. If he did it before, he could do it again. That is the idea. Okay, so this message here is to the faithful ones. Okay, let's go to now verse 3. And that subsection is expect comfort. For the Lord shall comfort Zion. Okay, that is Israel, Zion. The Lord shall comfort Zion. He will comfort all her waste places and will make her wilderness like Eden and her desert like the garden of the Lord. Joy and gladness shall be found therein, thanksgiving and the voice of melody. Okay. Now, as I mentioned in a prior lesson several weeks before, uh, after the Babylonian captivity, that is the 70 years. Now, they were there because of disobedience. They were being punished or chastised, okay? Uh, so after the Babylonian captivity, a remnant, okay, we talked about that, a remnant was allowed to go back and rebuild Jerusalem. That is, it was wasted by the Babylonians, yes. When the Babylonians took captive, they destroyed the city of Jerusalem, and it lay in waste, as verse 3 is talking about, and as we know based on the history. Okay, uh, 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 and uh, and it will be, in other words, Jerusalem was rebuilt. And I said last week that uh, uh, Jerusalem was rebuilt at the expense of the Gentiles. The Persian government ordered finances for the rebuilding of the temple at Jerusalem after the Babylonian captivity. Okay, so the first outline is look to the past, look to your heritage. That is Abraham, the father of the nation, started with a couple, one man, told him to leave his kindred and go to a place, and he did it by faith. Okay, and so if God blessed him before, God have blessed us before, he can do it again. Okay, God is faithful. He was faithful to Abraham in his promise of a son and to be a nation, and he's going to be faithful in bringing them out of Babylonian captivity. Okay, so this is what the first outline is telling, is giving comfort to the Babylonian captives. Okay, those that were captive in Babylon, and they were complaining that God has forgotten me, but God is faithful in keeping his promises. Okay, now we go to our next outline, and it says, look to the future. Now, this outline here is about universal salvation, not just deliverance and comfort for the Jews or for Israel, but salvation for all of mankind. Okay, all. As and I think it was the 49th chapter of Isaiah, which said the Messiah was to be a light to the Gentiles, to the nation. Okay, and the subsection under this second outline uh, is universal salvation is the title of the second outline, and the subsection is my people, my nation. This is to the nation. In other words, look to the future and trust God. That's the key. Look to the future and trust God. Verse 4. Hearken unto me, my people, and give ear unto me, O my nation. In other words, to the ends of the earth, not just the Jews, to the nations. Okay. And continue with verse 4. For a law shall proceed from me, and I will make my righteous to rest for a light of the people. In other words, as I said, and is mentioned, I think, in the 49th chapter of Isaiah, that the Messiah would be a light to the Gentiles, a light to the nations. Okay, let's go to verse 5. My righteousness is near, my salvation is gone forth, and mine arm shall judge the people. The isles shall wait upon me, and on mine arm shall they trust. Verse 6. Lift up your eyes to the heavens, and look unto the earth beneath. For the heavens shall vanish away like smoke, and the earth shall wax old like a garment, and they that dwell therein shall die in like manner. But my salvation, this is key, but my salvation shall be forever, and my righteousness shall not be abolished. Okay. It's the fact is this, that let's go to verse 6 there, 16. But my salvation shall be forever, and my righteousness shall not be ashamed. This is one thing that God promised that will last forever. Okay. The earth, in verse 6, 6a, Let's read it. Okay, lift up your eyes to the heaven. We read it, but let's read it again. Lift up your eyes to the heaven and upon the earth beneath, and the heaven shall vanish away like smoke. Okay, this this earth is going to dissolve. There will be a new heaven and a new earth. Okay, this is what it's talking about here. The old heaven and earth will, it says, will vanish away like smoke. This is verse 6. And the earth shall wax like a garment, and they that dwell therein shall die in like manner. In other words, if you say, well, I'm going to live on this earth, this present earth, okay, I'm going to live on this present earth forever. Now, there are some people that say, okay, well, what's going to happen is that they're going to take all the wicked people away. And once they take all the wicked people away, we can live on this earth forever. No, no, no. This earth is going to vanish away. Okay. Okay. There will be a new heaven. I'm not looking to live on this earth. I'm looking for the new heaven and the new earth. That's what I'm looking for. Because this heaven and earth is going to vanish away, as it said here, vanish away like smoke, and the earth shall wax old like a garment. You know what happened to an old garment? Okay. An old garment is going to wear out. Okay. And if you don't wear it, you pick it up and it moths it and ate it up. Okay. And they that dwell in shall die in like manner. Okay, but the salvation, this is 6b, but my salvation shall be forever, and my righteousness shall not be abolished. That's what I'm looking for. The salvation of the Lord on the new heaven and the new earth, which is not going to dissolve. Okay, that is the key. God has promised and 6, but my salvation shall be forever, and my righteousness shall not be abolished. Okay. And that's going to be with the new heaven and the new earth. That's what I'm looking forward to. Not this old earth void of wicked people. Okay. Because it's still going to vanish away. Okay. Let's go to our last couple of scriptures here. The righteous at heart. This is verse 7. The righteous at heart. Hearken unto me, that ye know righteousness, the people in whose heart is my law. Fear ye not the reproach of men. Okay, let's there's a comma there. Okay. Fear ye not the reproach of men. Now, individuals that are trying to live righteous, okay, on this earth, trying to do the right thing, okay, they're gonna feel the reproach of men. It says, "Don't fear them, neither ye be afraid." Why? For the moth shall eat them up like a garment, and the worm shall eat them like wool. So basically, don't fret. There's one scripture tells us, don't fret over the evildoers, because they will soon be cut off. Okay, now you say, well, soon, what, in 24 hours? Oh yeah, they may live a long time, but even 100 years is nothing compared to eternity. Okay, so don't fear, as verse 7 says, fear not the reproach of men when you are trying to do the right thing. Neither be afraid of their reveling. Don't be afraid of them, for the moth shall eat them up like a garment, and the worm shall eat them like wool. Okay, that's what's going to happen to the ungodly. The scriptures say the ungodly shall perish. The ungodly is going to perish. One day, yes, the ungodly will perish. Okay, and verse 8, continue. But my righteousness shall be forever, and my salvation for generation from generation to generation. My righteousness there is permanent. My righteousness shall be forever, and my salvation from generation to generation. The ungodly will perish. Okay, so the key in this lesson, God is faithful and will fulfill his promises. That's what he was saying in the first outline to the Jews that were in when they was in the midst of their trials and tribulation, albeit for their own disobedience. But God was faithful to Abraham. He was faithful in the past. If he did it in the past, he'll do it again. And God is faithful to his promises that he has made to us. So God is faithful and he will fulfill all his promises that he has made. And that is our lesson today, is that God offers deliverance. That is, offers deliverance for Israel, Judah, that was going through tribulations in Babylon, and he will offer deliverance for mankind. That was the role of the suffering servant that we talked about several weeks ago. The suffering servant, that is the Messiah, came to bring salvation to mankind. That was his goal, is to bring salvation to the nation. We'd like to thank you for watching today. We ask you to join us next week for another edition of the Sunday School Review.